Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're really cutting through the noise. We're looking at a claim that's, well, it's pretty radical, controversial even. It basically challenges everything we think we know about earning money. We're talking about this idea of a financial shortcut, one that supposedly bypasses, all the years of struggle and hustle. Okay, so let's unpack this one. We're diving into some source material that claims financial success.
It isn't really about effort or savings or strategy.
No, not primarily.
Instead, it's about a specific frequency in your brain. They're actually promising a method to get abundance by activating something called your wealth DNA.
Right.
Now, I know, it sounds like pure self-help hype, maybe, but the sources, they lay out a specific kind of pseudoscientific mechanism for how this is meant to work.
It is highly provocative, you're right. And our mission today is really just to understand the internal logic of this system they're proposing. The core idea, the assertion, is that hard work, just applying conscious willpower, it's basically a waste of time if your brain isn't, calibrated correctly. Calibrated to the right vibration.
Exactly. They're suggesting that the real blueprint for abundance is locked away for most people. Why? Because of this neurological misalignment.
Okay, so we need to explore what they actually mean by this wealth blueprint and the specific neuroscience, or what they claim is neuroscience, behind this unique frequency.
Yeah, the 7.83 hertz thing.
Right. And then there's this surprisingly simple 7-minute audio method, they say, unlocks this, constant flow of financial success.
To really get it, we have to start where the sources do, which is this idea of the brain as a kind of supercomputer.
Yeah, okay.
They suggest the supercomputer is just running subconscious programs all the time, 247. And those programs, crucially not your conscious goals, are what ultimately shape your reality.
Including your bank account.
Including your bank account, yes. These programs form what they call your wealth blueprint. And very importantly, they establish a person's wealth set point.
Like a thermostat set.
Kind of, yeah. And this blueprint, it isn't something you're born with. According to the sources, it gets shaped by childhood experiences, emotional conditioning.
Oh, the usual suspects.
The usual suspects, exactly. And the beliefs we just sort of absorb about money, about success, about rich people. So if your subconscious set point is dialed low, the argument goes, your reality will just keep pulling you back to that lower level.
Regardless of how hard you consciously try.
That's the claim. Conscious effort hits a subconscious wall.
And the sources give some really relatable examples of these limiting beliefs, don't they?
They do.
They're like those little mental sound bites that just play on repeat. Things like, money is hard to earn.
A classic one.
Or that cynical thought, oh, rich people are greedy, I don't want to be like them.
Right, pushing wealth away unconsciously.
Or even just that really defeatist belief, you know what, I'm just not meant to be wealthy. We've all felt that kind of internal friction, I think.
Absolutely. And that friction, that's the key outcome they highlight. The sources say these deeply ingrained patterns, these low-frequency patterns, they inevitably lead to subconscious self-sabotage.
How does that show up?
Well, maybe you constantly undercharge for what you're worth in the market.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Or you just seem to overlook really obvious business opportunities. Or you just have that persistent, draining feeling of being financially stuck.
You push and push, but like you said, the subconscious is hitting the brakes.
Yeah.
The 95% wins.
Exactly. The promise here, the hook, is that you can recode this blueprint quickly, effortlessly, just using frequency.
Now that phrase, wealth DNA, it's catchy, definitely designed to grab headlines.
Oh, for sure.
But we should probably clarify, the sources aren't suggesting, a physical genetic change.
No, not at all. It's purely metaphorical. It's shorthand for that subconscious wealth blueprint and maybe your energetic signature around money. It implies the potential for wealth is already there, like an internal code, but it needs activation. You don't need to create it, just switch it on.
Okay, activation, not creation.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now, let's pivot to the alleged science, because this is where the claims get really bold.
Right.
They start by grounding it in known neuroscience, which is smart. They mention the different brainwave frequencies we know about: beta for alertness, alpha for relaxation,
Theta for meditation, delta for deep sleep, gamma for high-level processing.
Yeah, exactly. Standard stuff. But then they zoom right in on one very specific number.
This is the 7.83 hertz.
Yes. They claim that the ultra-rich, the financially successful people, the ones who seem to attract money without even trying,
The effortless ones.
the effortless ones, they tend to spend a disproportionate amount of time resonating at 7.83 hertz.
And the name they give this frequency is fascinating too. The Schumann resonance, often called the Earth's heartbeat. That framing immediately gives it this feeling of being natural, universal, powerful.
Then this is where we need to look closely.
Yeah.
The Schumann resonance itself isn't like a made-up concept. It is a real thing. It's a measurable natural electromagnetic frequency. It exists in the atmosphere, between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. And it does hover right around that 7.83 hertz mark.
So it's real physics.
The frequency is real physics, yes. The claim the source material makes is that this frequency is the natural state for optimal human performance and calm focus. They argue that when our brains sync up with this natural Earth frequency, it promotes a whole suite of beneficial traits.
And these are linked directly to financial success.
Directly, according to them, things like calm focus, which obviously leads to better clarity, more intuitive decision-making,
Okay.
bursts of higher creativity and innovation, and maybe most importantly, a powerful, consistent sense of flow and synchronicity.
Meaning you're just aligned. You notice the opportunities.
You're in the right place at the right time, seeing the right things. That's the idea.
So the argument is this isn't just a frequency for meditating peacefully, it's the frequency for optimized success.
That's what they're saying.
But hang on, if it's the Earth's natural heartbeat, why aren't we all just resonating there constantly? Why isn't everyone successful?
Well, the sources have an answer for that. They blame modern life, modern stress.
Of course.
They say the constant noise, the digital overload, the anxiety, the just chaotic nature of daily life. It systematically pulls most people out of that natural 7.83 hertz resonance.
So we get stuck in higher frequencies, like stressed out beta waves.
Exactly. Our brains get stuck operating in these higher stressed states, and this creates patterns that, according to these sources, actively repel wealth.
Repel wealth. Wow.
And make us unable to even perceive opportunities when they're right there staring us in the face.
Okay, so if the problem is frequency misalignment caused by modern stress,
Then the fix has to be frequency correction.
which brings us neatly to their solution. This proprietary 7-minute audio program they call Billionaire Brain Wave. Engineered, they say, using neuroacoustic technology.
Sounds very high-tech.
It does. But what does that mean? What are you actually listening to? They make a big point of saying this is not just a relaxation tape or some guided visualization.
No, definitely not. They frame it as a pure technological shortcut.
Okay.
The science they cite here, the core of this neuroacoustic tech, it centers on something called binaural beats.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Right. So the idea is you wear headphones, and the program sends two slightly different tones to each ear. Let's say 300 hertz to your left ear.
Okay.
And 307.83 hertz to your right ear. Your brain tries to make sense of these two different inputs.
I'm in doing so.
It perceives a third phantom beat, the difference between the two frequencies.
Which would be 7.83 hertz.
Precisely. That perceived third beat is the target frequency, the 7.83 hertz Schumann resonance. So the claim is simple. Listen for just 7 minutes a day, and you basically force your brain to sync up with this frequency.
Gently pulling it out of those chaotic scarcity patterns.
And into the abundance-focused resonance. That's the pitch.
It sounds incredibly convenient. Almost. Too convenient. And ambitious. If we look at the activation process they claim happens,
Yeah.
the simplicity of just listening for 7 minutes seems...
Well, it contrasts sharply with the huge change they're promising.
It really does. They break down the process into 4 quick steps that supposedly happen during or right after you listen.
Okay, what are they?
First, the brainwave synchronization.
Yeah.
That's the binaural beats doing their thing.
Right.
Second, subconscious reprogramming. Because your brain is now in this deeply relaxed receptive state, guided by that theta-like 7.83 hertz, the subconscious mind is supposedly wide open.
Open to what?
To replacing those old limiting beliefs about money with new positive patterns. Effortlessly, they say.
Okay, step 3.
Third is the wealth activation. This is where the metaphorical wealth DNA awakens. You start suddenly noticing opportunities, coincidences, intuitive nudges, stuff you would have just missed before.
Yeah, you're becoming more aware.
More aligned, yeah. And the fourth step, arguably the most important one, manifestation acceleration.
Accelerate. Yeah, because the program works at the root level. The subconscious energy, it supposedly starts attracting abundance without you needing to consciously strive or try so hard.
Okay, but hang on. If the subconscious controls what, 95% of our actions like the source claims?
Mm-hmm.
How can just listening to a 7-minute audio track completely overwrite potentially decades of scarcity conditioning, stuff maybe ingrained since childhood?
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound, I don't know, too quick, too easy to be really believable?
That's a fair question. And this is actually where they launched their strongest critique of more traditional self-help methods.
Like affirmations and visualizations.
Exactly. Visualization, affirmations, vision boards, all those classic tools. They argue these methods fail precisely because they only operate on the conscious mind.
The 5%.
That tiny 5% of your mental power, yeah. You're consciously sitting there affirming, I am wealthy, I am successful.
Right, trying to convince yourself.
But, they argue, your subconscious, the other 95%, is still running its old programs, whispering loudly, no, you're not. Remember what your dad said about rich people? Remember that big debt you have.
Oof.
It creates this internal conflict, neurological conflict. The conscious effort, however strong, just gets instantly negated by the deep, unchanged emotional programming.
So the problem isn't that we don't know what we want consciously.
Yeah.
The issue is our subconscious giant is actively fighting our conscious rider.
Pretty much. Civil war in the brain, as you put it earlier. And if you only use willpower, the 5%, you're kind of destined to lose against the 95%.
Which makes the appeal of this audio program much clearer.
Exactly. It claims to work directly on the subconscious blueprint, using frequency shift. It bypasses the conscious mind entirely.
So it doesn't require you to focus super hard or even really believe in it.
Apparently not. Just the ability to put on headphones and relax for 7 minutes. That's the core requirement, they state.
Okay. And as this frequency shift happens, the sources suggest you'll start seeing real changes. Tangible evidence.
Yes, real-world evidence that the alignment is actually happening. They give some specific signs to look out for, indicators that you're now resonating at this frequency of abundance.
What kind of signs?
Well, for instance, you might start feeling significantly lighter, calmer around the whole topic of money.
Less anxiety.
Yeah, those old gut-wrenching fears about scarcity or debt or just survival, they start to fade into the background.
That sounds nice.
And perhaps most powerfully, the sources claim you begin to experience massive synchronicity.
Things just clicking into place.
Yeah, people, resources, ideas, they start showing up and aligning in perfect timing, almost like the universe is, bending to meet your new frequency.
Wow.
And this is apparently coupled with a sharp increase in trusting your own intuition, which then leads you naturally toward prosperity rather than forcing it.
That connects right back to the billionaire mentality they were analyzing earlier. It's a shift, isn't it? From forcing success, that hard, grinding 5% conscious effort, to allowing it.
Yeah.
Because the 7.83 hertz state lets you tap into deeper problem-solving, better intuition.
Which attracts money instead of you having to constantly chase it down. It's framed as a fundamental shift from struggle to flow, all based on changing your inner frequency.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up the core message, the source material wants listeners to take away.
Yeah. The main takeaway is this. The energetic code, or DNA, for wealth isn't missing. It's not something you need to go out and acquire.
Right.
The source insists it's already inside you, fully present, but for most people, it's dormant.
Jammed up.
Jammed by chaotic modern frequencies, by old programming. The key, according to this material, is learning how to use something like this neuroacoustic technology to just turn it on.
And the final practical steps, according to the creators, are almost laughably simple.
Ridiculously simple. Find a quiet space. Put on headphones. Play the 7-minute audio once a day. And just relax.
No intense visualization, no journaling required, no conscious effort needed.
Just pure frequency level transformation. That's the promise.
Yeah.
So I suppose we're left with this final kind of provocative thought for you to consider. It builds on their idea that the mind was actually designed for abundance. If the core problem really is a deep frequency misalignment stemming from, early conditioning and modern stress, then does focusing relentlessly on conscious willpower, on struggle, on hustle, does that actually keep you further from your natural state of flow?
Yeah. That's the question, isn't it? Should effort be replaced, or at least supplemented, by a frequency shift?
That's the question they want you asking.